everybody. Welcome back to another episode. This is the Ronnie and Jose Show. My name is Jose Rodriguez, real estate agent with eXp Realty. I also happen to be the team leader of the REJ team here in New York with my guy, Ronnie. Ronnie, go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Excuse me. What's going on, guys? Ronnie here from the Heather family, representing the Heather family real estate, along with Team BC nationwide with eXp Realty. And we are going to have a conversation today about talking.
Nice. All right. Now, man, so awesome, brother. So today is actually a topic that I'm very excited about, and that is being okay or being cool with not fitting in. And the second I talk about this, it always reminds me of my school days. You know, when I was in high school, and not just in high school, but also in middle school, some of the years. You know, a lot of the kids, they always like to party and they always like to smoke and stuff like that was the thing, bro. Like if you were gonna go hang out with kids or whatever it is at a party, you would be drinking or smoking or doing whatever it is that they would be doing. So it wasn't until like my senior year that shit got to me. But around the time, I could say when I was 15, 16, I would always show up and be the guy that wouldn't be doing all that shit. And they would try to like pass me the weed or pass me the blunt, and I would always be like, nah, man, I'm good. Nah, man, I'm good. And there was another friend that I had with me that it was kind of the same thing. You know, we were athletic, we were doing our thing. It was about sports, and just we really didn't. It didn't feel like it was something that we should have been doing at the time, you know. And then I would notice that there would be other kids that would be thinking the same way. However, they still give in to the influence because they wanted to be associated with the cool guys, right? Or with the people that were around that environment. So I could just say it like this, man. I've had way more respect than so many people just because I chose that route. And I would always be looked at as that, oh yeah, he doesn't smoke. Oh yeah, he doesn't do this. Oh yeah, he doesn't do that. But it would be to the point where it would kind of be like not laughing or teasing me by any point, but it would be like something where they could respect me for not giving in to everything else that everybody's doing, especially the girls. So I would notice that, and I would be like, you know, it's so stupid how people think that they have to do drugs or they have to smoke or they have to drink to be able to get girls. I thought about that in school. You know, eventually I did bend a little bit towards my senior year, and I did start to smoke a little bit. It wasn't anything crazy. I did drink a little bit, but it wasn't like most of the guys that were doing it. Fast forward now, you know, we're both entrepreneurs. We're both designing our lives and our lifestyles to where we want to go. It made that concept that I had when I was a kid make so much sense, because if you look at it in the real estate realm, how many realtors do we know that are trying to be like that average fucking realtor with that bullshit fucking smile, has that same tonality, that the same way of communicating with their clients, and it almost sounds like that salesman that is being ingenuine with their clients because they always have this mask on. You know, they always have this thing, and not because they want to, but because they feel like that's what they're supposed to have on to be able to interact in the business world, which is bullshit, because you're not being personable and you're not being who you truly want to be, and it's fucking killing them inside, and we know that. So another thing I want to talk about before I pass it on to you, brother, is our morning routines and waking up early in the morning, and sometimes even going to sleep early, right, and not going out. And I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people feel like they're missing out whenever they feel like, oh, my friend is doing this tonight, my cousin's doing this, and they always feel like they're missing out on something. Well, guess what? If you look at your values and you look at your goals and you look at where you want to go in life, and you see that it has nothing to do with that activity that your friends are going to do, then why the fuck do you care? And what really are you missing out on if it's not alignment with your values and the things that you want to do in life and your purpose and everything that you want to accomplish? You know, I, for example, wake up at 4 a.m. and I sleep on the fucking floor. And I'm proud to say that. I take cold showers in the morning when I wake up. And there's not many people that do that, right? So am I worried about fitting in? I could give two fucks. And you know why that is because at the end of the day, now that obviously we're all adults and we're not fucking kids, we can clearly see the distinction between the man that puts himself in uncomfortable situations so that he can ascend and grow and elevate not just his physical being, but his mind and his spirit. You could see the difference. For example, you look at a guy like David Goggins, who's one of the toughest men in the world, and you could just admire the man for all the shit that he's been through and all the things that he does, and the distance that he's able to take to be that person in who he is. So you can look at these guys, and even Wim Hof, Iceman, right? Being able to put himself in those situations, and they're uncomfortable. He's not like anybody else. That's why the one percenters are one percenters. They're not worried about fitting in with the 80%, the average, the sheeps. They're not worried about that shit. And you know what's going to end up happening? Maybe in the beginning, people are going to laugh at you. Maybe during the middle, people still won't understand. But at the end of the day, once they know that you're not going to be able to bend for anybody else, they're going to learn to respect you, and they're going to come back and ask you for advice because they know that you've been the one that has been consistent this whole time. I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, brother.
Mic drop. I don't know what to say. Nah, man. Fizzy Facts all around the board. I mean, for example, we can bring it up to what's happening in modern day, in today's day. The black squares. The black squares. That's another thing where people are just probably doing it just because it's like a new fad, or let's go to clothing. Like there's some brands out there that, for example, let's say if LOL was a brand, but that shit costs $1,000 per T-shirt just to rock or whatever. But the material and the manufacturer is the same exact business or person as the T-shirt that's worth $20. But just because it's a fad and it's what everybody's wearing now, and it feels like, oh, if you wear that LOL shirt to the party, you're the motherfucker that got money. You're the dude that got swag. You're the dude that's that dude. Like ever since day one, like I love dressing up. I love putting certain colors together and certain like different fashion outfits put together, but none of my clothes really cost that much money. I don't really shop expensive. I shop with a unique eye that has certain that captures energy and eyes that are very unique, not just because of how much it costs. I look at what costs actually a lot of money in my eyes, in my opinion, or just for my like, for me to put money for me to invest money on clothing, on a accessory or whatever the case is. If I feel like it's not worth it for me, then I'm going to look for something similar that costs that makes sense for me in regards to using the right language in this context, right? I always spend less money on things that every time I wear them, like myself or either other people, they look at it like, oh wow, it looks nice. Oh, it looks expensive. Oh, look, you're always rocking this and that, the third. But little do they know, I barely spend any money on clothes. It's crazy. Like, and that's just the mindset part of it. Because if I were to actually like dressing how I dress and then buy these high-end clothes, like my pockets would be empty right now. It just wouldn't make sense for me specifically. I'd rather use that money to invest in real estate, to invest in other things that are actually going to give me more money. That's actually going to pay me when I'm sleeping. Those that makes more sense to me. And like Jose was saying, that's where actually the 1%ers, just even the 5% of people who actually are wealthy, that's what they're doing. They're not worried about buying these high-end clothes and having this hat that says Supreme or whatever the case is, Gucci bags and shit like that. I don't care about none of that crap, bro. I could wear a $12 watch and bag a fucking a bra that's easily a 10, easily any day of the week. So it's all about mindset, and the fact that I invest in my time and my money in regards to education, studying. I'm in one, two, three, minimum three coaching programs right now. And I'm spending minimum $300 a month on it. $300 a month. People pay that shit for a fucking car or more, minimum. And I'm just spending that on educating, on elevating, on entertaining. Also, a aspect in my life that's going to catapult myself from everybody who's trying to be in this same circle that everybody is a part of. There's some people that just literally don't understand dedicating time, money, and energy to educating yourself, elevating yourself, putting yourself closer to people who are more educated than you are. About to sneeze.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID. I'm back.
I gotta go, man. I gotta go.
I probably blew up someone's ear listening to this. But yeah, man, it's like staying in your own little bubble. I mean, you can be social. You can know how to connect with people. You can know how to have conversations where you don't, I guess, feel left out. But also in your own time and whenever you want to do something, just do it. It's not. You don't have to wait for confirmation or approval or pat on the back from nobody just because you want to feel a part of a certain group. And I want to share the story right after I pass it to you, because this is something that I just thought of in high school as well that is very interesting. But I'll pass it on to you, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing to that story. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it all comes down to what you really want, you know, and focusing on you versus all the outside chatter that's going on around us. You know, a lot of people are just being influenced, by everything that's happening outside of them, and it's like they don't even have a voice. You know, so they wanna buy the most expensive shit, not because they actually like it, but because they think that it's gonna actually get them somewhere based on the trends that are happening in real life. Although it may possibly help you with something, at the end of the day, people are going to know that when they look at your true core, that's not who you really are. So that's the thing. That energy, it's very easy to sense, especially for a woman. So if you're the type of guy that wants to buy all these fucking clothes and this and that just to impress other people, they're going to notice that shit. And they're going to be like, wow, you're just here dressing up like a fucking clown, because that's what they want you to dress up as, you know? So just really understanding that you could really live your life the way you want to live it, regardless, and without apologizing to anybody. You don't have to be the type of person that ascends from the group. Let's say you have a bunch of friends that you're growing up with, and maybe you're not an entrepreneur yet, but you always wanted to, and you're on the way to getting your real estate license, and then all your friends are fucking drug addicts or fucking gangsters or doing a bunch of shit that maybe is not aligned 100% with your values, and you have to step away from that. And they start telling you, hey, you know, that's not who you are. We know who you are. You were raised with us. You were born here. This is where you belong. You're not a fucking entrepreneur. Who do you think you are? You think you're better than us? You don't have to fucking listen to those guys. Because if those guys actually took the time to understand you and have a conversation with you, they would very quickly know that is the type of person that you are, and that's what you want to achieve in life. That's the career, or that's the direction that you want to take. So if you don't want to be a fucking loser like half of the fucking community that you're maybe surrounding yourself with, then the logical step would be is to step away. The emotional step would be to feel bad about them that originally don't give a fuck about you, because if they wanted the best for you, they would say, hey, we think that that's the best for you, and they will recognize that potential that you have, just like you recognize the potential that they have, and you will do your own thing. And if they want to do their own shit, then let them fucking do their own shit. And then once they see that you're actually doing the things that you want to do, and it goes back to the last point that I stated, they're going to come back and they're going to be like, yo, like, you're actually making money, you're actually leveling up in life, you're thinking differently, you're eating cleaner, your health is a lot better, you're creating better relationships with meaningful people. Like it starts to become clear to the eye, but that comes afterwards. The first thing that has to change is the inner beingness of yourself. So that's what you have to understand. That comes first, and don't expect for the outside to accept that, because most likely they won't. They're not gonna want you to change. Why would they want you to change? That's so uncomfortable for them. They've known you your whole life to be as this person. Why would they want you to become the person that you truly are, even if you've been suppressing that for them? It's time you fucking step out of that shell, and it's time for you to actually go on your own journey of life that you actually been wanting to go on for the longest time. It doesn't matter what anybody says, and that's the thing, bro. When you talked about validation, it hits it right on the nail, because at the end of the day, that's what this whole thing is about, man. Everybody just wants to get fucking validated, but at the end of the day, it's like, validate me or not, it's either I'm gonna make one person happy but myself unhappy, or I'm gonna make myself happy, and regardless of which way I make myself happy, somebody's always gonna be fucking unhappy, right? It's whether, hey, you're wearing a red tie, I fucking hate that color, or you're like, it's always gonna be something, bro. It's always gonna be something, bro. So yeah, man, I'll pass it on to you. I'm interested in hearing that high school story about that threesome you were telling me about.
Yo, take it easy, bro. We got kids on the line, man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's actually now that I'm thinking about the story, because I thought about something else. It was actually elementary that led to middle school. This is way back. So as I came from, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I don't even have to say that right now. I started school here where I live, 5th grade, right? So 5th grade, the environment in my school system has changed tremendously. I switched schools when I was in 5th grade, halfway, and when I came here in Elizabeth, the environment was just completely different. So then and there, I realized the coolest people in the school, the people who like got girls and stuff like that in 5th grade, I'm talking to you about, like 12 years old, 13 years old, or whatever the case is. They had sex already. They weren't virgins. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. I wasn't that type of kid. I was like definitely a goody two shoes for sure. And like, I got cool with the cool people primarily because I guess the type of person who I am in regards to being an open book and like just connecting with people easily. And also because I was playing basketball too. And those people were in the basketball team. So they led me to believe that I had to lose my virginity ASAP. So the girlfriend that I was with, we was 13 or 14 years old at this time, a grade pass, and we were talking about losing our virginity to each other at that age. It's fucking crazy talking about it right now. And and long story short, that didn't happen. But I almost literally lost my virginity at 13, 14 years old just because I had this peer pressure, or I had this idea in my head where if I lost my virginity, I would have been even more a part of the cool kid crew, or I would have been that dude or whatever. Right? I would have been validated, like you were saying, right? So that's number one. Another situation was not only were those kids losing their virginity at such a young age, they were just bad as fuck, doing things that were just stupid, like just stupid ass things, like opening cars, fucking throwing stuff at houses, throwing stuff at cars, bullying kids, like getting high and shit like that. And I'm just like, this is crazy. But at that moment, I thought it was so fun because I was hanging out with the cool kids. So it got to one point, I'll never forget this day. It got to one point where I was literally in my neighbor's backyard, literally throwing rocks at his window, trying to break it. Like these big ass rocks. And I'm like, boom, boom. Like I'm beaming these rocks at this window. Little did I know it was like double pane, so it was hard to break. Next thing you know, I got this big ass rock. Oh, fuck that shit. Boom. Launched it. Bing, bing, and broke. I ran to my house. My boy ran with me. And next thing you know, they ring the doorbell. We look outside. It's my neighbor. No duh. So these guys are outside, and I'm like, holy shit. My mom is home. She obviously doesn't know what I just did. So my boy, he ran downstairs. Somehow, I don't even remember how he left my house without leaving the front because the downstairs wasn't acceptable. But he ran to my backyard, jumped the fence, and went home. So I had to deal with the repercussions of what was going to go down. So she came back upstairs, and I'm just like in my room chilling like nothing happened. And she came to me, and she was like, Ronnie, the neighbors are downstairs saying that two kids were throwing rocks at their window, and the window broke. Then out of nowhere, she comes from behind her back. She was like, here's a rock that was used to break a window. Did you do this? And I looked at her, and I'm like, I can't lie to my mom. So whatever. I confess it was me. She punished me, and I ended up having to work to pay for that window. So shout out to my mom, because she definitely did a good job on that. And then after that day, she was like, from this day moving forward, I don't want to see, I don't want to know, I don't want you to ask permission that you're hanging out with these kids ever fucking again, because you're done with this shit. These kids are up to no good, and I'm not going to see my son go that route. And I was going back and forth with him, thinking he was good, this and that, the third. No. Not looking back, every single day I thank her, because that kid is just not where I want to be. Let's keep it that way, period. And when I went to high school, freshman year here, I didn't even know about weed. I said getting high when I was talking about my story, but I actually didn't know. I don't even know I said that, because I didn't know about weed when I went to freshman year. Freshman year in high school, the first day, one of my boys from middle school, I thought he was crying or had allergies because his eyes were bloodshot red at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then my other boy was like, "No, he's high." I'm like, "What do you mean high?" Like, I didn't even know what that meant. Freshman year, and my boys are smoking up, like going to school at 9 in the morning. So that's how much of a difference I created within myself, my environment, that I was not a part of that crew anymore. I was not a part of that social gathering where just because you felt like you wanted to be cool, you needed to do this and bad things and lose your virginity at such a young age and do this and that the third. And that's how it was my whole high school year. I didn't take drugs. I didn't smoke not once. I barely drank. There were literally people that were skipping class, drinking, and coming back into their high school drunk, thinking that that was just cool and fun. And I never did that before, because it just makes no sense. There's always a time and a place for that. Like, why do you have to enjoy yourself to be intoxicated in school? Like, that's just absolutely crazy thinking about it. And I'm just so happy that, salute to moms again, that she put me in that position where she's like, look, you don't have to follow these kids. And in every class, every grade, every school that I was in, I never felt like I was outcasted. I never felt like I was out of the group. I was myself. I was friends with a lot of good people, and I never really had problems. And I didn't have to smoke. I didn't have to lose my virginity at a young age. I didn't have to do bad things. I didn't have to be a part of the crowd. I could be friends with those people, but only talk to them in certain environments and certain places, not when they would do their shit. So I feel like we can connect that in today's world, because in social media, in just where we are today, is like many people feel like we have to do something just because the main person is doing something, or whatever the case is. And people are still in this fucking fixed mindset where we still have to do this, and that's not the case. Especially in today's world, I feel like there's so much uniqueness within everybody. Like, I feel like there's so much differential traits that everybody has, but at the end of the day, if we come to a clear distinction of what we want as humans, we don't have to do none of these crazy shit that people do nowadays, and we could still have an amazing life, and the life that we actually want, not the life that we feel like we need to have to get to a certain place just because that person's there. So let me just cap it off with that.
Yeah, man, great story. I think that that's something that everybody, when they were growing up, had some kind of a challenge with. It was definitely a tie getting pulled, whether it's, hey, should I do this? I'll be validated by the crowd or by whoever the fuck it was, or should I just be who it is that I really want to be? And at the end of the day, bro, it's like, you don't have to sacrifice your values just to be a part of something that you're not. So we'll just end it there. This was an awesome episode, and I think that anybody that's tuning in now in the live, I think that you should definitely go back and watch it. It's also going to be in Ronnie's YouTube channel, I believe, and it's going to be featured in the Built from Pain podcast, which is in all of the podcast platforms. So if you have Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, it's going to be there. So thank you guys for tuning in. And of course, if you feel like this would be beneficial for anybody that you may know, feel free to share it as well. Signing off. Peace.
Yes, sir. Ronnie clocking out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And yeah, appreciate your support. See you on the next one.